Hello and welcome to Yesterday's Airlines. Today's video is a bit of a departure from the usual content, but features some brand new 400 scale ground service equipment made by Fantasy Wings Plus. They are now Fantasy Wings Plus. Fantasy Wings has been a friend of the channel for some time, and I've featured quite a lot of their ground service equipment previously here on the channel. So check out those vids if you haven't seen them already. But today we're going to be checking out their new aircraft tow barless tugs. So that's what we're going to be getting into in this video. Stay tuned for that. Before we get into that though, don't forget of course to subscribe to the channel here at Yesterday's Airlines. I'm posting videos once or twice a week nowadays, and the channel is doing pretty well. I'm very pleased with that. Thank you very much to everyone who has subscribed. Don't forget to subscribe too and chuck a like on the vid as well. But what we're going to do now is we're going to have a look at these tow barless tugs and also compare them to some of the other tugs that I've got in my ground service equipment collection. So let's get into that now. Okay, so before I get into looking at the Fantasy Wings Plus editions, I've got a variety of other tow barless tugs in my collection. As you can see, 4 different types. Now, I've got quite a lot of these little plastic ones, which are quite nicely detailed. They've often come free with models in the past or been given away free by stores that I've purchased models from. They're not bad. Got some nice little detailing on them actually, and reasonably good. Simple options. Also, there are some slightly more detailed versions. I think it's the same mold, which I've also picked up. I can't remember where I even got these from. And they've got a little bit more paint on them, but broadly it's the same. Whoops, don't drop them. These are just plastic. They're very lightweight, but they're really quite useful, do the job quite nicely. Decent level of detail on those. I think some of these are supposed to be the similar type of tugs as to the ones that we're going to be looking at that Fantasy Wings have made, but I'm no expert on pushback tugs, I admit. Next up, I've got an Era Classics tug. Now, this one is actually all die cast, but that doesn't really help it. Apart from making it actually a bit oversized, it also has very little detail on it. It's really just a block with some paint on it, but it is pretty heavy, pretty chunky. I don't tend to use these ones. I've only got a couple. They came with some ground service equipment that Era Classics put out a little while ago. And my most recent tug edition has been this one from AvGeek Models, which is again a good, quite a large tug. I think this is also supposed to be similar to the brand of tug that we're going to be reviewing in this one. This is a nice tug from AvGeek Models, comes at a really competitive price point, so definitely a good little tug to get. But Fantasy Wings GSE, that tends to be right at the top of the line for ground service equipment. So that's what we're going to be having a look at now, these 2 tugs from Fantasy Wings. And these tugs are modelled on actual models of tug. They are modelled on the AST-1X, which is made by the company Goldhofer, a German company, I believe. And as you can see, this vid is taken from their web pages. They are tow barless tugs designed for taxiing wide-body aircraft from A300s all the way up to an A380. And as you can see, they got some good shots in action here with A340s. And there are 2 different types of the tug. There's the one you're seeing here, which has 4 wheels, and there's a larger version which has 6 wheels on it, which I guess is most suited to the A380, though it does appear that the 4-wheel version can also tow the A380 as well. So these are more than just pushback tugs. They are actually aircraft movement tugs for moving the aircraft long distances around the airport, and they are aimed at wide-body aircraft. As you can see here, it goes through all the different types of aircraft that these are aimed at, from A300s, 767s, DC-10s, if only, to 787s, A350s, and the like. And there's quite a lot of information here on the Goldhofer page, which has no doubt assisted Fantasy Wings Plus to be able to reproduce these pretty faithfully. So that's the 2 models we're going to be looking at now, the 2-axle and the 3-axle version of these AST-1X tugs. That's enough about the real thing. Let's look at the actual models. Now, these come in these rather cool little boxes which have these kind of holographic style stickers on the front, as you can see. And we'll start off with the smaller version of the Tug. Because I just get a nice little plastic box with some foam padding inside so you can protect the Tug. Take that up, and there she is. And you can see already that these Fantasy Wings Plus versions have a lot more detail than the previous pushback Tugs I've shown you. You can also, if you're not sure of the size, see how tiny they are, because that was a standard size match that I was putting next to it. So they're very small, but obviously perfectly scaled for 400 scale. So let's see if I can get her up close to the camera. You need to try and balance her on to my finger. And there we go. You can see that there is a surprising amount of both molded in and printed and painted detailing on these Tugs. Gives them a really impressive look. And I have to say that they look really very good when you put them next to an image of the real thing. They've got all the right sort of proportions and detailing. Even got some little space there for the lights at the front. Underneath, it's relatively simple, but you don't see that portion. They've got the gap there, which is where the aircraft nose gear sits within. So that's the 2-axle version of the AST-1. Let's just briefly compare her to one of these very simple Tugs that I showed you earlier on, which I've often, like I say, got free. So this isn't a product, I don't know who makes these, but you can see that there's a lot more detail on this one. It's much better scaled. I think that other version is perhaps trying to be like an AST-1, but is maybe a generic kind of Tug, but not the same level of quality and detail as Fantasy Wings are able to produce with their own products. Moving on to the 3-axle version, the 6x6. And again, similar kind of packaging, very similar looking Tug, but obviously a little bit bigger and has those extra wheels at the back for moving around higher gross weight aircraft like the A380. Again, really looks superb when you get close up. And obviously, I'm getting pretty close up here, as you can see by the size of my finger. But really nice detailing on all the surfaces of this tiny little model. So I'm really pleased by the look of these. I have to say they are really high quality. If you're doing airport dioramas and you want to get close up with the aircraft, these are perfect, provide that level of extra detail which those cheaper varieties do not. Let's get these up on to the turntable so my fingers aren't in the way and you can get a bit of a closer look at them. And once we've done that, we'll get them in action with some different aircraft types so you can see how they look and feel with the actual 400 scale models assigned to them. Okay, I'll start with a 737-800. Now, this is not an aircraft which is really compatible with the Tugs, as we saw with the specifications, but you can see that it does just about fit with them. Those smaller, cheaper Tugs fit much better with the 737s. Moving up to the smallest aircraft type, which is compatible really with them, and that is the sort of 767-200 size here, as we can see with this China Airlines example. And you can see these scale much better, have a much longer gear leg, and work correctly with the size of these AST-1s. So this is good. And now what I'm going to do is move up through some other aircraft types, A350s, 777s, and we'll move on to the larger Tug with some larger aircraft types like the A380. So let's get these on to the turntable. Okay, so that's enough of the turntable. Let's see how these tugs look on my Jinlong diorama. So here we've got one of the AST tugs towing this Etihad Dreamliner to her gate after some scheduled maintenance, I assume. And next, Malaysia Airlines Airbus A350 being pushed back from the maintenance area as well. And another A350, this time it's Delta Airlines, once again being towed past Terminal 2, this time towards her gate. And I think, yeah, you can see here how nicely these tugs scale and the level of detail works with a modern 400 scale airline like this Aviation 400 model here. And moving on to the larger version of the tug, we've got an Airbus A380. This is my old JC Wings knockabout model. This always appears on the diorama here, but still looks really good with that larger tug towing her along. And lastly, we've got a Senegal A330-900 Neo being pulled into her gate here with the larger tug. And that completes our look in this video at these new Fantasy Wings Plus Goldhofer AST-1 tow barless aircraft tugs. If you've got a model airport, you are going to need to get yourself some tugs. And as you've seen, there's quite a few different options on the marketplace at different price points, sometimes even free with models. But these Fantasy Wings Plus are probably at the top of the pile. They've got some really lovely detailing and they enable you to get really close in for photographic work and not have an impact on the quality of what your camera is seeing. So there's some really beautiful work in these and they go super nice with your 400 scale model. So I highly recommend that you check out these Fantasy Wings Plus tugs. These are really nice and these two will become my Apex tugs on my model airport. When I want to take photographs close up, then these will be the tugs that I'll be using with my wide body airliners. So check out Fantasy Wings Plus and I hope that these fill a niche on your model airport. Okay guys, well that's it for this vid. Thank you very much for watching once again. I'll be back very soon with some more content here on the channel, so don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you then. Goodbye for now.